Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mel. I grew up playing outside.
And I grew up doing something meaningful, watching movies and TV.
I never had cable, and we finally bought a VCR about the same time DVD players hit the market.
Throughout our marriage, Mel has sadly missed many of my pop culture references and movie quotes.
So it's time to catch up on all the films I missed.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Ready for a movie. How are you?
I am always ready for a movie, as you well know. And I'm excited to continue to press onward into the new year with films you hopefully haven't seen.
Okay, is that a clue? You're kind of dancing right now. Like
I'm
your head is
excited. Like
your head is grooving.
Well, I wish that were a hint, but no, I'm just grooving because it's winter outside. It's warm here by the hearth, and we are cozying up to watch a movie. So, do you know what we're watching this week?
Not a clue.
Not a clue? It's not Clue. That's a clue. You've seen Clue, right?
I've seen Clue. I love Clue. Tim Curry rocks.
So great. So great. Okay. So, I'm going to see if you can guess the title, okay?
Okay.
So when you're really excited about an episode and then it immediately stops and there's a plot point hanging in the breeze, it's called a...
When you're excited
if you're
about
watching
an
a story, right?
Yeah.
And then just as it's about...
Cliffhanger.
Ah, yes, correct. Have you seen this movie before?
I think I have.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I think I did.
Man.
But
what's it about? Tell me about it.
Okay. Sylvester Stallone is in it.
Yep.
And all I know is there's like a moment where he drops someone.
Like he drops a beat or...
Beastie Boys are known to drop the beat.
That's true.
But Sylvester Stallone, it like haunts him or something. It's like a...
Okay.
That's all I remember. That's all I remember.
No, I'm going to press you for more if you've seen this. What else? It's called Cliffhanger. So what's it about? What's the plot?
I think it's like mountain climbing people who have to go in and like help people. And I'm guessing. This is me guessing.
I'm listening.
This is not me saying that I know it.
Okay. Mountain climbing people. Like, where do you think they are located if they're mountain climbers? And I don't mean in the mountains. I mean like what country? Like.
Oh, I mean, I think it's in the U.S.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking about mountains. There's mountains all over the world.
We've already exhausted any knowledge I may have of this movie.
So the mountain climber people, you think he drops someone at some point.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And it haunts him.
Okay. So you think it's just a movie about him being haunted the entire movie? Or do you think...
No.
Okay.
There's other things going on. I don't remember anything else.
Do you remember any of the other actors in this film?
No.
No?
No, not at all.
Good. Well, that's the saving grace that I'll take with me into this.
Okay.
So what are two things that you're a few things you're excited about with this?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So when I watched it, it was like, I think I was in high school and it was with my friend in her basement. Mm-hmm. And so anytime I rewatch a movie that I watched in that situation is wonderful because it's like, I don't know. It's nostalgic for me.
That's how I feel with pretty much every single movie I show you.
Makes me want to drink pop again. Because we always had pop.
Translation for people who don't live in the Midwest, that's soda.
Soda.
Yeah.
Soda pop.
Soda pop.
Which I don't drink anymore, but I used to.
Yes. Is there anything you're dreading about this movie?
I don't remember if I liked it or not. To be honest.
No, that's a cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, give me your poster and tagline, then we can go jump into it.
Okay. It shows someone like kind of, mountain climbing.
Okay.
And
I'm picturing lederhosen whenever you say that, by the way. The traditional German outfits.
No,
that's what I picture.
Yodel-a-dee-hoo.
Yodel-a-dee-yodel-a.
That reminds me of the mountain climber Price is Right game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's my favorite one of all time. I love that song.
The goat, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie poster. What's your movie poster for Cliffhanger?
There's no lederhosen, even if that is the right
There's
word.
none? Okay.
I've never been convinced that's the right word. That word's ridiculous.
That's the word that's in my mind for it.
I can't say anything now.
No?
I'm lost. Okay, so yeah, it's like showing like, a mountain climber or two, really muscular,
sure,
and they're like gripping the rocks.
Okay.
But this is kind of like panned out.
Okay.
And then it's gonna say, oh gosh. I'm trying to do better taglines.
Oh, I love it.
It's not working so far.
It's not working so far? Is that the tagline? For Cliffhanger?
They had to...
They had to what?
I don't know. They had to work as a team.
Okay.
But he wanted to go alone.
Oh.
So that's kind of my new thing. I want to have, there's like 2 lines to a tagline at least.
It's a cliffhanger.
And they contradict each other
usually. Yeah, got it.
Or add more information. So that's it. That's my...
Well, let's go check it out unless we don't check it out.
I want to climb up this mountain of a movie with you.
Let's do it, and hopefully I don't drop you. Let's go check it out.
Woo, okay.
Please, I don't want to die. You're not gonna die. Don't let me fall.
Matheson has been transferred from the Denver office to Frisco, and as a professional courtesy between offices, I was asked if he could hitch a ride.
Got plenty of room. Be glad to accommodate you.
We just got an emergency call at 5 climbers just ran off Combe left.
I haven't climbed in months. You just lose the feel.
Maybe you mean the nerve.
Where's the helicopter?
What the hell's going on?
What are your names?
Tucker and Walker.
Well, Tucker and Walker, we're missing 3 bags.
What's in them?
None of your fucking business! Fudge!
Where is the money?
Well,
that was Cliffhanger.
I
really liked it the second time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. I just resisted the urge to do my Sylvester Stallone impersonation, but it's probably going to come out. I'm going to hold it back as long as I can, but I'm going to feel it pulling on my hand. It's full weight. And then my glove slipping at some point during this talk, and it's just going to come out.
Okay. Thank you for the warning.
No problem.
So, why did you pick this movie?
I picked this movie because, we kind of had a heavy emotional movie before this one, Enemy Mine.
Yeah.
And winter is finally here, and it was much delayed this year. And I thought it would be cool to see some crazy action movie in a winterscape.
Right. It's all in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
I did appreciate that a lot. And it was gorgeous. This was a gorgeous movie.
Oh, yeah. The cinematography, it's very sweeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trailer that I played with this podcast is actually not the actual theatrical trailer. The actual theatrical trailer just has classical music playing. And so it was like giving you, I can only imagine watching this in a theater and you see it coming, you're like, oh, it's a Stallone film. And then it's like all classical music. And then you see all the action of what he's doing. It's like a weird, like Nutcracker vibes, It's like a ballet of action is kind of the vibe I got. But wouldn't really work for the podcast. So I found this one, which was probably just a redub or something.
Okay. I kind of want to watch that.
I know.
That would be beautiful to be seeing those scenes.
Yes.
They're panoramic.
Yes.
Gorgeous mountains, not American mountains.
Correct. They were not made in America.
Italian Alps, I think they were.
They were made in Pangea.
Oh my gosh. They were so gorgeous.
Yeah. They were very beautiful.
Yeah. So the cover or the movie poster that I described.
Yeah.
I was way off. I could not remember like the plot or like why they would be climbing. But I was right on like him dropping the grip and the girl falling.
Yeah, totally.
And that first scene. That's like stuck in my head. That's when you see that kind of scene for the first time.
Oh, well, yeah.
It leaves a mark, right?
It's all over. It's in all the trailers, sound and no sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on the poster. And yeah. Like this also too, the movie poster for this one also called on some conventions. There's like a rich tradition in Hollywood of taking a movie poster and having a commission of an artist who actually like draws it,
Yeah.
And paints it. Star Wars famously does stuff like this. This one, I would never have suspected this would have been a film that had a poster like that. And yet it does. So,
Really?
yes.
And so do you have it up? Can I see it?
Yeah, check it out. That was
Okay.
loud, sorry.
Whoa. So it's like a picture. There's a couple things going on in this picture. There's like at the bottom of it, it's a mountainscape. And then but the biggest piece of it is like a shoulders up shot of Stallone just looking at you.
Don't forget the star of this film, which is his right biceps vein.
It's like right there.
It is right there.
So all you can do is look at his shoulder and his armpit.
It is ready for action. Yes. It's like in the woman he's holding is going to fall into his bicep.
Yeah. And so then like above that, or like in the foreground, right, is like the scene of it. He's on a harness and he's holding on to a woman.
So,
what's the tagline?
The tagline, the height of adventure.
I need to start working more puns into my taglines.
I just love puns so much.
I do too.
That's a great one. I dare say that's the best like pun tagline of the entire podcast
so far that we've seen.
Oh, I would like I don't think most of them are puns to start.
Is this the height and pinnacle of taglines?
I think it is. I think it is. Pun intended. No, I'm getting lost with that. Yeah. Wow. So, wait, whoa. What's this movie about, Melissa?
It is about some rangers that work in the mountains, and in the beginning they're doing a rescue, and one of the mountain rangers, played by Michael Rooker.
Yeah.
A young Michael Rooker. Holy cow, watch out.
Well, compared to what you're used to, yes. I think he was in his 40s, but sure. 40 years young, maybe late 30s. Yeah.
A younger Rooker.
Yeah.
I just love his name.
Yeah, Michael Rooker's great.
Yeah. So they're rescuing him and his girlfriend, who are at the top of this peak. And she's not a really good climber. And like, it's windy. They've got the helicopter. They've got this line going across. And Rooker gets across to the helicopter. And then it's the girlfriend's turn. Mm-hmm. And as she gets like in the middle, and she's suspended from this wire above, I don't know.
It's 4,000 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Her straps begin to give way. Yeah. And all of a sudden she's just hanging on by like a belt buckle, and it's crazy. And so the only thing Stallone can do is go out, grab her hand, and try to save her and somehow bring her in, but it doesn't happen. She loses her grip, and she falls to her death. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so terrible.
In Stallone's defense, he made it out there and he grabbed her. So
he did.
The bicep did its job. It was the wrist bones and fingers that I think failed in this instance.
Well, also, like, if you think about hanging, like, you're suspended by one hand, right?
Yeah.
So your other hand is like low.
Yeah.
And think about trying to like get the energy to like bring that up and grab a Stallone bicep.
Yeah.
And grip it.
Yeah.
Like, that would be so hard to do.
I think you underestimate the power of Stallone's biceps, but I digress.
So anyway, Stallone goes away for a year because he's just racked with guilt and this whole traumatic experience.
Yeah.
He comes back a year later, and he's trying to like get his girlfriend back, and she's like, "No, you left, dude." Meanwhile,
that'd be a great T-shirt. "No, you left, dude."
Like we're all feeling terrible. So meanwhile, there's this.
I just fought off another Stallone moment. I'm holding on. Keep going.
Okay. There's this big heist that's happening. No one knows about it. There's like this government issue money or something.
Treasury Department, I think. It's high. It's like $1,000 bills.
Right. And there's a plane like bringing it across the mountains, and then the bad guys, led by John Lithgow. Holy cow! Forgot he was in this. Totally forgot. I was so happy to see his name.
It's actually part of the reason I showed this too, because I know how much you love John Lithgow.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Even when he's bad, he's so good.
He's wonderful.
So they do this crazy mid-air plane heist where they like hook a wire again. These wires.
Yeah.
To the plane. And then they like reel the suitcases full of money down to the plane, but it all goes wrong and they get dropped into the mountains.
Shockingly, it goes wrong, right?
The plane crashes, and then Rooker is called to go in and like rescue these people who are pretending to be normal people, totally not evil.
Totally not evil.
Not doing anything wrong in the mountains here. Just like, come help us out.
Just come help us out. We need insulin.
Yes. And so Stallone goes with him to try to like mend their relationship. And
I don't know if that's the reason he goes. I might disagree with you there.
Maybe try to mend his relationship with his girl.
Yeah, she kind of heavily guilt-tripped him into it, I think. That's what I remember, at least. And, he has this thing called a conscience, I guess. So he's like, I got to help these people.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
So, thus, they go in, they get to the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they really are bad guys. And they're like, okay, now you're with us. You're going to do what we say and help us find these boxes.
Yeah.
And so ensues
the hunt for Cleveland, President Cleveland, commences.
Which we had to look up because we didn't know who was
on the
$1,000 bill.
I think I said Garfield originally when I was just doing it from memory, but yeah.
Yeah, so Stallone escapes and he starts like kind of going after the money on his own.
In a t-shirt.
Escapes
in a t-shirt.
I know. Anyway, the whole thing is like them trying to get the money.
Yeah.
Stallone trying to prevent them from getting the money.
Yeah.
Rooker's with the bad guys. The girlfriend comes in and helps. And like at the end of it, the good guys win. And there's lots of explosions.
Do they win? Does anybody ever win when it comes to mountain climbing?
Yeah. They were
oh, you're right. They
top of the mountain.
They did win. They were at the
Not
top.
only did
That's
they
true.
win, they had a great view doing it.
Oh, the ending though, like
yes,
it's the three heroes who are there, and then the police are there, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing down there?" They're like, "We're good." They're like, "Great, we'll send someone to come get you." And then
no room in our helicopter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they fly away. Like, if the bad guys were there, what were they going to do? Were they going to like land or try to shoot them or something? What was their course of action?
I was trying to give like a little allowance and say it's just the weight limit for the helicopter. They can't exceed weight limit. It wasn't a Jurassic Park helicopter where you can fit a whole group of people in it.
Yeah.
It was,
No, and the second they saw Stallone's biceps, they're like, that's the weight
That's
limit
like
right
two
there.
men.
That's like 2 men. I can't fit that. No. Oh, wow. I wish Rooker had his little whistle stick, his whistle thing, so he could be Mary Poppins, y'all, and just go down the mountain like that. That would be great.
The movie would have gone so differently if Rooker was actually Yondu.
I kind of want to see that movie with Yondu in it. That would be amazing.
A mashup to have.
His character has a lot of attitude, and he's gruff. It's kind of Rooker's thing, so that would be great. Wow.
But this was Rooker in a different role for him. He wasn't so much gruff. He was just like steady, competent mountain guy. He was like a ranger. He was like when you go camping and like the rangers like let you in to the park and you're like, man, you're a cool person. I bet you'd be fun at a barbecue. You'd be easy to talk to. He just kind of gives that vibe.
He totally did. He totally had a chip on his shoulder though when it came to Stallone.
Well,
that was kind of his arc,
some
to try and work
there.
through it. Yeah. So I was kind of like calling on that. He was kind of gruff when it came to that. And he was also in a situation where you probably are going to be gruff. There's literally terrorists or, bad guys who are trying to kill you and asking you to do things you really don't want to do. Oh, well, he has a bum knee, I think. No, that was in the beginning. Never mind.
It was life or death.
Yeah. So you mentioned in the beginning there, like one of the stunts they did was the rope thing.
Yeah.
Let's
Between
talk,
the planes.
Between the planes.
In
midair.
It's like they sent out this rope from one plane to the other.
Yeah.
And one man, he put something on it that he could hold on to and just like a zip line.
Yeah.
He zip lined between two planes.
He was supposed to be the last guy off the plane after they got the money over.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes across between the two planes. And it's illegal in Europe to film a shot like that without a parachute or something safe, like for them to do. But it's legal in the US, at least it was. So they performed that stunt, and it's the most expensive stunt in the Guinness Book of World Records. $1 million.
Whoa.
And like, they were not going to do it because of the cost, the cost that was there. And Stallone was like, you could just take it out of my salary.
There
and
it is.
There
it
no!
is.
I lost it. Anyway, it's just going to come out stronger later. I'm sorry. Anyway, so $1 million from his salary. Boom. this stunt exists. It's just crazy.
That's why this movie's awesome, is because there's stunts like that one and other ones that literally take your breath away.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot believe this is happening. And you're like, your analytical brain is like, how did they do this? How did they use? And now we're finding out that they did it just by doing it.
They just did it.
There was nothing special there. There was nothing under that man.
Yeah.
Except trees and a rocky ground.
Yes.
That's insane. And
very
I love it.
Terrifying trip to a brief death. Yes.
Would you, for $1 million,
$1 million,
would you zip line between two planes with nothing to catch you?
How good is the zip line?
It's like the one we have in our backyard.
Oh, I don't know. That one has a seat.
That's true.
$1 million. Wow. Probably not. I want to say maybe, but if I'm being honest, probably not.
If I was a stunt person.
Oh, yeah.
Then
stunt
yes.
person.
Yes.
Sure.
But as a normal person.
Yes. I don't know if I would do half of the mountain climbing scenes in that film for $1 million. Like, in the opening shot, when Stallone is like climbing up to get Rooker, you see him at one point where he's like at the very bottom of like an edge. So he's just like, it's almost like a ceiling.
He's under the overhang.
Yes, overhang, yeah. And he's holding on by one arm. And you're like, what? I don't think I would do that. Like, yeah, that's just wild.
That's why this movie is awesome, though.
It's great. There's a lot of moments like that where you feel that your lizard brain just crawls. It's just like, danger, danger. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I felt that there's a point later on in the movie where Stallone, he's under a bridge and he reaches up and grabs the feet of this guy, and it's so unexpected and great. Yeah. And then he like falls into the ice below. And for me, anytime you're in freezing conditions and you get in water, this is my Girl Scout training. Yes. You're done for.
You're just dead.
It is impossible to come back from a plunge into the water.
Yes.
But Stallone did.
Obviously, you're not taking into account the extra oxygen in the biceps.
It must keep you warm.
Keeps you warm.
All that muscle.
Yeah. And especially that vein. That vein's got a lot of oxygen. And it just pumps that blood through the body. It's like having a second heart.
Back to the scene from the airplane.
Yeah.
There was just like a whole thing in the news when a flight, like something fell off the plane.
The Boeing 737.
Yes, yes.
Literally just the fuselage just opened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I was thinking of that when we were watching the airplane scene.
Whoa.
Because there's a part where they push a button and this whole piece comes off. And I think I said to you, like, why does that button exist?
Yeah.
That is...
Yes.
That should not be there. You should not be able to take that piece off in flight.
Yeah. Agree. And you should not, none of the pieces should fall off in flight. I'm a firm proponent of that. That is not, I do not enjoy that aspect of planes.
You don't want to Flintstone it? Just have your feet out?
No. Or put your arms out and have to flap your arms. I do not want to have to do that either. Another thing I thought was pretty funny about this movie was the bunny. It's so impossible. Like, I see rabbits on a regular basis. I see animals go after rabbits in real life. Like, how fast a rabbit is.
Yeah, for sure.
They totally, this gets me into I want to talk about the most unrealistic parts of this movie. Okay. Everything we've talked about so far has been realistic. Human beings did it, right? Yeah. A human being went between two planes. They did this like sheer cliff climbing stuff. That is possible. A human being capturing a wild rabbit with his bare hands and then putting a tracking device on it without any other help. That's my point. No dart gun, no snares, no nothing. He doesn't have time for that. That's impossible. And that was like one of the most unrealistic parts of the movie for me.
So I think that the extra muscles make him faster. Like, it's like a blur of motion, faster than like your eye can see.
Yeah. Wow. It could be. It's
I'm
like,
right.
No. I mean, I've read comic books actually where it's like your aliens develop in different gravities, so their muscles are stronger, and the muscles being stronger makes them be able to go faster, etc. So that tracks. That logic tracks. That bunny though, when they did a lot of times they'll do a pre-screening just to do audience testing. Yeah. That bunny, originally they had shot it where the bunny got killed. And the audience was so upset by it that Stallone was like, all right, I'll pay for it. We're reshooting that scene without the buddy dying. He paid like $100,000.
He put a lot of money into this
He
film.
sure did, yeah. I think he was one of the producers too. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, anyway.
The director of this film, so there was like two characters throughout the movie that were just happened to be in the mountains at the same time. And they were like, we would just call them like surfer dude kind of guys, like just, out for the fun of it.
Oh, yeah.
Long hair, kind of hippie-ish, totally awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The director looks like one of those guys.
He totally does. He looks like the one that got it.
Yeah.
That's I love it when I wonder if that was an homage, an intentional thing or not.
I wonder.
Yeah. Stallone was one of the writers too of this movie.
Really?
Yeah. He worked and developed the script. Man, that bunny though. That's an expensive bunny right there. Anywho, other parts of the movie you thought were unrealistic?
Oh, I only want to gush. I already said the airplane thing was unrealistic. I mean, a lot of the climbing seems unrealistic, but I know it's not.
Okay.
But I have a feeling you have a couple more.
I mean, always like the go-to in action movies where you immediately have to suspend disbelief is like ammunition. Like they're just walking around with so much ammunition that they can just shoot all this entire time. One of them had a grenade launcher. There was a man firing an Uzi on a pressurized airplane.
You know what? When I'm watching a movie, all that registers is gun.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking like that at all.
Yeah.
It's just weapon to me.
Yeah. When the like undercover FBI agent or whatever like pops up on the plane before the heist starts and he thinks it's a thing and he starts shooting and everything. It's just like, wow. Okay. All right. We're in an action movie. Alternate reality. Last Action Hero. Yeah.
Do you have any other ones that you want to say?
I think it was unrealistic that John Lithgow's character was he wasn't evil enough. And that sounds really weird to say.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen John Lithgow act as a bad guy in various movies, he was evil. But I mean, come on. He could be a bit more evil. He was like, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 evilness, John Lithgow was at like a solid 7.2.
I think because it was greed that fueled his evilness. Because I don't think he was actually evil as to his core.
Yeah.
I think it was greed.
That's a fair point.
I was going to say another scene that I remembered as we were watching it that had left an impression was towards the end. There was one woman on the team and her and Lithgow kind of had a thing. It sort of seemed.
Yes.
They were friendly.
Yes.
And then there's this part where John Lithgow's kind of like nuzzling her cheek and he wants what's happening. I think
they're on the mountain. There's she flies the helicopter. She's the only person who can fly the helicopter. So you think. Yeah.
And the FBI guy, who's kind of like their inside man for getting the money, who has like the tracker, he's like kind of saying, "No, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not going to be a team player. I'm done." But Lithgow's like, "You're in it. We're doing this." Yeah. And so he shoots her, and he's nuzzling her cheek, and he's like, "Do you know what's important in a relationship or something?" And she's totally under his spell. Yes. And then he says sacrifice. Yes. And you didn't know it, but he was holding a gun to her back. And oh my gosh, that is so traumatic. Yeah. And that was evil.
Yes. That was evil. You're right. Yeah. Okay, fine. He gets a solid 7.9.
Well, that's why I say it's greed, because he did that because he wanted something. Like what he wanted was more important than his lady.
I can't even imagine, like, I fired handguns before. I can't, like, the positioning of that. The gun would have been so close to you, and it would have been so loud. Again, action movie stuff.
Right, right.
The technology around the tracking was fairly unrealistic as well.
Now that I can agree with, especially at that time, right? Did that exist back then?
I'm sure something like it existed, but when there were moments where they're like, "All right, we don't need the guides anymore. I could see that the package is 4,000 feet away." And it's like, it's on a mountain, which is 3D. Like, there could be paths and trails and different things, outcroppings. So, yeah, it was kind of hokey. But
do you feel better?
I feel a little better, thank you.
Okay, good.
Is there any other scenes you want to talk about that we didn't hit so far?
Oh my gosh. Well, man. Janine, the female lead, the ranger from Northern Exposure.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She's awesome too.
That made me think of an unrealistic thing.
Oh, go on.
Her house. Her house is too perfect. She lives in this amazing house, and her boyfriend up and leaves, and she doesn't get rid of his stuff because he's back there like picking it up and stuff. So that felt pretty unrealistic.
She's kind of busy.
She's kind of busy. Okay, fair enough. She was really cool though.
Yeah, she was. Really liked her. You asked about scenes that I liked though. Go on. What about you?
Now I'm just thinking in context for you, like you couldn't stop gushing over the furniture in her house. I like obviously the opener scene's good. I like when he's running around kind of guerrilla style. Mm-hmm. And my favorite kill of the movie is when he's fighting. Sorry. He's fighting the guy in the cave. He's fighting Leon in the cave.
Yeah.
And Leon is kind of like kicking Sly's butt. He's the guy, he's doing like ninja kicks and he's doing all this crazy stuff.
Right.
And then Sly like just ends up picking him up with the biceps and just goes straight up and impales him on those are stalagmites, right?
Sure.
The rock outcroppings, they're pointy.
Hanging down from the ceiling.
Yes.
I prefer to call it cave teeth.
Cave teeth. Yes. He impales him on a cave tooth.
Yes. Actually, the whole cave scene is great. That's when we kind of see Stallone getting really beat up.
Yeah.
And you're like starting to worry about him. Up until that point, he was like, nothing touched him. He was awesome.
I mean, except for hypothermia. Even that didn't touch him.
That didn't bother him at all.
He just put on a sweatshirt.
I liked how he ran into his girlfriend in that one, I don't know, there was like a little museum supply house in the mountains. Yeah. And just that location alone was super cool. And that's where he got his sweatshirt.
Nice.
Yeah, I loved that.
So if you had to be a ranger at any like location, where would you want to be a ranger?
Wow. Like 5 different places popped into my head.
Okay.
Maybe the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
That gets pretty hot though, so I'm not sure about that. But you can ride horses there, so that's cool.
True.
Maybe like Pictured Rocks too. That place was awesome. Okay. Yeah. But then I also just love Ludington State Park for all eternity. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Man, I can't believe you didn't say Yosemite, where Half Dome is.
Oh, I haven't been there. I need to go there.
I would want to be one at the Smithsonian.
The Smithsonian?
I'm pretty sure there's rangers there because I'm sneaky and there's lots of cool stuff.
Okay, you can be a ranger at the Smithsonian.
It's public land and it's all free. I think it technically falls into that. Don't fact check me on that, though. I'm just going to pretend it's true, even if it's not.
There's also like anywhere there's sequoias. I'd be on top of that too.
Oh, yeah. Redwood National Forest. Yeah, up there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
So we talked a lot during this movie of why 90s action movies are so good.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So let's hit that. Like, why are 90s action movies so good? Terminator 2.
Oh, you're starting with that one?
I was just going to list some that like stand out to me.
Okay. What you just listed goes against what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But
forget that.
The first thing that pops into my mind is like very little special effects.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or if they're effects, it's practical effects.
Right.
Very little CGI. And T2, when you look at it, especially by today's standards, didn't have that much CGI.
That's true.
CGI it was sparingly used and it was very effectively used. But otherwise, it was mostly practical. Practical effects are the bomb, as they say in the 90s.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. What about you?
Joke killed.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Really exploded.
Practical effects all the way. I was thinking like, they're so good because they had to overcome a lack, right? Like they couldn't just like, Steven Spielberg, like he had an idea of what he wanted to do and they had to make it happen with what they had. And now I just wonder, do we have too much? Does there need to be like,
you're not allowing people to like use their imaginations when they watch the movie.
Yeah. Like things can come easier now and it's not the same amount of work and effort and building that goes into it. Perhaps.
Yeah. And there are I think it was like Kid in a Candy Store for a while. Like it was just, we could do anything we can imagine. And so we tried. And you see a lot of filmmakers nowadays too, like they're kind of hinting back to that and missing that. And so they'll do less is more and more strategically use some of the CGI effects and stuff. But the 90s were great because you didn't have to make that call really.
Yeah.
It was either out of the budget, like too high, or it's just there's this rich it still exists, but you had such an ecosystem for it. All the stunt people and all the wealth of experience they had and the pyrotechnics and all that stuff. It was just so, it exists now, I'm sure, but like I can only imagine just it's gone down. It's become more specialized since, CGI came out.
Yeah, and included in that list would be like puppeteering and like that's one thing I love about the Star Wars movies is that so many of the droids are like real, like
people. Really
built in there. Yeah, so
yeah, totally.
I'm a practical effects person all the way.
Yeah,
I realized it with this movie.
Yeah, I'm that first, and then you can like use CGI, finesse, and that's kind of what excuse me, Chris Nolan does. Like he famously doesn't use CGI, but he'll like use it to touch things up in editing, like if something's wonky, if I recall correctly, which is kind of a cool. I've really enjoyed his films.
Yeah, for sure.
I could digress. That's why 90s films, action films especially, are amazing. And that's kind of also the reason why I just wanted to show you, when we started this, I would mention Stallone movies, and you would give me like the same look you give me when I mention Fast and the Furious movies. And I'm like, obviously you haven't seen Stallone films because they're just fun. You watch them and they're just fun to watch.
That's true. I'm seeing that.
So you're welcome.
Rambo really may help me turn a corner there.
I'm telling you, Rambo is a good gateway drug for Stallone. He's a good gateway. So speaking of Rambo, because that's such a deep film, what, if any, messages do you think were in this film?
Ooh, this film has a lot of layers. Lots of layers. I'm just going to stick with the whole like friendship. I mean, in the end, it's the three friends together on top of the mountain that like overcame and won. And Stallone had like abandoned them in his grief. But that wasn't like, that needed to be fixed and like reconciled.
Yeah.
And what better place to reconcile than on the side of a mountain?
That's fair. That is a place where you can have a stillness and a headspace, and be surrounded by beautiful nature.
Maybe that's why people do it.
Might be.
So what about you? Any messages that you want to highlight?
The message for this movie is it's just surprising. Stallone's biceps can take you to the height of action adventure. That's the message of this film.
Yes.
So if you haven't already, you should pump yourself up, do a couple like barbells, like get those biceps, the blood flowing, and check this one out.
I agree. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.